What's up guys, it's Joe with DIY Cold Plunge. This is a topic of frequent debate and discussion in my private Facebook group. So I want to give you my personal thoughts and justifications on what order to put your cold plunge components in. If you haven't checked out the Facebook group yet, I've got a link in the description below, and I've also got a free parts and components guide that you can download as well. Like I said, there's a lot of thoughts and discussion on this, but here's what I've landed on, what I recommend, and what's worked well for me for the past year. And that is going from the tank to the pump to the chiller to your filtration and sanitation system and then back to your tank. And so why is there debate and discussion on this? Most people default to wanting to put the filtration and sanitation system first, thinking that having clean, sanitized, and filtered water is going to protect the chiller, which is the most expensive component, long term. Here's where I sort of disagree with that and why I recommend what I do. First, if you're following the plan on my website, I'm assuming that you're using a strainer piece at the outlet of your tank. This will keep most of the large debris out of your system to begin with. And to have your pump function properly and efficiently, you want to limit the amount of obstructions from your tank into your pump. So that's why I put that first. The next thing is what everybody defaults to, and that is protecting the chiller. Because after all, it is the most expensive part of this entire cold plunge build. And my thoughts on this are any debris that makes it through the strainer and through the pump are likely not going to cause damage to the chiller at all. What can potentially harm the chiller is ozone. Ozone is a powerful sanitizer of water. It also happens to break down certain materials over time. Most chillers, from what I can tell, are made with internal components that are materials that are compatible with ozone, but I can't be 100% certain that that's the case with the different manufacturers and everything else that's going on, and I just don't want to risk it. The second way that ozone could damage your chiller is in creating air bubbles inside that chiller. The plan on my site and what I recommend is using a Venturi injector to inject the ozone into your plumbing system, and doing that will create bubbles. Any air that gets into the system could cause damage to your components, including freezing issues if air gets trapped in your chiller and cavitation at your pump. So why not put the filter after the pump but before the chiller? My main reason is that the filter and the ozone venturi are the two main places where flow is restricted through your plumbing system. So putting them together in the same spot simplifies how your plumbing is routed, and since your ozone needs to go through a loop anyway, it just makes the whole plan simpler. This is how it's done in some spa or float tank applications. It's how the Plunge sets up their systems, and it's basically what I modified and implemented in my design. All that being said, there is nothing wrong with adding a mesh strainer filter before your pump. I personally have not needed to do this in any of my cold plunge builds that I've built and used, but if it makes you feel better with filtering some debris before it enters your plumbing system, that's totally fine. So at the end of the day, however you want to set up your system, as long as you keep your pump at or near the beginning and ozone at the end, you should be fine. These plumbing systems are really short, and again, the body of water isn't exposed to the elements that often to collect debris. So try not to overthink and overanalyze too much. The one thing that you'll want to watch with this setup is a clogged filter. You will want to monitor flow back into your tank as well as check your filter pretty often. Having a completely clogged system will greatly reduce the flow into your tank, and what that can do is it can create back pressure in your plumbing system and damage your chiller over time. If you keep up with filter changes on this, you should be fine. I personally have had no issues in the past year. The Plunge has their filtration at the end. Penguin also offers multiple setups with filters at the end as well. So what are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments below what order you put your components in, what questions you have. Let's have a discussion and learn some things from each other. If you want to join the private Facebook group, the link is in the description below, and I also have the link to the free parts and components download as well. Thank you for watching, guys, and we'll see you at the next video.